What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Final Whistle, episode 12. Myself, Danny Erb, joined alongside my guy, Nathan Osler. And we got a crazy show today because we woke up to a bunch of news. And we also have our Top 5 Tuesday segment that we're going to be doing for the first time today. And just a lot of stuff happened in the NFL in general since yesterday. So I think we gotta talk about the main one, the biggest one that happened. Davante Adams traded from the not Oakland, I almost said Oakland, from the Las Vegas Raiders. Wow, from the Las Vegas Raiders to the New York Jets. This is crazy. And I remember seeing rumors that the Jets were out on him, but I think that might have been with Robert Saleh. Do you think that Robert Saleh getting fired had a big impact in this happening? Do you think Rodgers was like, okay, now I can really get what I want? I think that's a pretty. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. Is that Saleh did not want to trade for Adams, and so Rodgers was like, all right, I'm getting this guy fired, and I'm going to get Davante Adams. Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers appeared both today on the Pat McAfee show.
Which is crazy. He was already there, of course. And you want to know something awesome?
What's up?
He's miraculously healed from his hamstring injury, and he's playing against the Steelers. Miraculously healed. Like I called this weeks ago when this happened. He would be a Jet, Steeler, or Commander. Then I said Jets or Steelers made the most sense. And guess who? That's what happens. Davante Adams is a New York Jet, and he's miraculously doesn't have an injury anymore, and he's perfectly healthy. And somehow he's literally there 15 minutes after the trade is made up. He supposedly is there yesterday. Trade supposedly happened during the game, but got finalized today. It's funny how this goes. I'm looking at this meme right now on Twitter. New York Jets unveil new logo. It's just the Jets outline with the word Packers on it. Aaron Rodgers has his guys, Davante Adams and Allen Lazard, on his team. We were talking about this last week after the Saleh news. Mm-hmm. I personally am not a big Aaron Rodgers guy. He's turned into what he gets. The owner's going to give it to him. And I think he got what he got right here, and he got what he wanted. The fact that we saw him on the Pat McAfee show today already with Davante Adams like in the room with him the entire time just shows that this was going to happen. Rodgers got what he wanted. And here's an interesting note. I don't know if you saw this, but this is actually this is 3 hours ago from Jordan Schultz. And you know what? I saw this happening after watching the game last night. And you know what? I'm not going to blame Mike Williams at all, because you see what Aaron Rodgers said about Mike Williams. He said he didn't run the proper route on the pick. I was watching that ball thrown in the air. It was literally dangling in the air. It was a very bad football. And he said it was Mike Williams' fault. He didn't take any accountability. Sources, the Jets are planning to make wide receiver Mike Williams available for trade after acquiring Davante Adams. And Williams did sign the 1-year contract. So it's just a really crowded wide receiver room, because if you think of their wide receiver group they have right now, it's Davante Adams, then Garrett Wilson, and then it would be Mike Williams, maybe below Allen Lazard at this point, the way Aaron Rodgers likes his former Packers guys. That's
one of the best receiver in the NFL. Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. That is damn good. And Lazard,
I think Mike Williams is going to be gone. I don't think Rodgers and the fact that the Jets are already planning on making him available at next month's trade deadline is just really funny to me after all this Rodgers stuff comes out of him blaming Mike Williams on the pick. Mm-hmm. And I will say it was a very bad ball thrown by Aaron Rodgers. I get it's crunch time and they needed the touchdown, but personally, what was that? But I don't want to say Steelers, but here we go. Steelers probably going to be on Mike Williams. They wanted to sign him. Remember that in the offseason? The Steelers were in on Mike Williams. Yeah. It didn't happen. I think this is going to be the guy the Steelers settle for when it all comes down to it. But I don't want to get on the Steelers case. We're going to get to them in a little bit. But, this trade was interesting. All the Jets are giving up as a third-round pick that can become a second-round pick. We have to remember here, the Raiders gave the Packers a first-round pick. I think it was a first and second for Davante Adams. So the Raiders ended up losing this trade greatly. This trade will go down as maybe one of the worst trades in Raiders history, because they didn't get any sort of production they wanted out of Davante Adams. Injured all the time. They never had a solid, real good QB for Davante Adams. It was like Derek Carr towards the end of his Raiders stint, Jimmy G, Aiden O'Connell. Gardner Minshew, I think, for a little bit. Brian Hoyer. Like, yeah, Devontae Adams was set up for failure with the Raiders, and he's now on the Jets. It's a Green Bay Packers reunion, and yeah, Robert Saleh is probably really mad that he doesn't get this.
Yeah, I'd be sick too. But I don't think Robert Saleh was going to let it happen regardless. I think that might be a reason why he got fired, which is wild. But
I love all these memes I'm seeing.
Yeah, this is crazy. I'll tell you what, this is nuts. And do you think that this makes the Jets straight contenders now? I think it does. I mean,
I think the Jets are going to go from a 6-win team to a 9-win team with this type of move. I'm not as high on the Jets as many people are, bro.
Neither am I. But like, I mean, you got to look at the facts. They have a great defense. It's a very good defense. You've got Breece Hall, who's a top running back in the NFL. We put him in our A tier. You have Garrett Wilson, who we put in our A tier. You have Devontae Adams, who we put in our top 5 tier. I'm pretty sure. Rodgers, who is one of the Rodgers is a top 10 quarterback. Like, on paper, this is one of the best teams in the NFL. But they're not going to be. They're going to sell. But I don't know. I think this is very good. I'm just shocked because I would have assumed that, the way Aaron Rodgers is, I would assume that his bridge to Devontae Adams was burnt after Adams wanted out of Green Bay. And I'm kind of shocked that they wanted to get back with each other, but I guess they are still friends. And I guess their relationship never, crashed and burned, which is kind of shocking. But so what was the return for the Raiders here?
They got let me go back up to it. I just saw it. It was a conditional 3rd-round pick that can become a second.
Lord.
It's more than likely going to be the 3rd-round pick. I think it'd probably depend on their record, how the Jets finish. It probably could become a second. But, like, they gave up a 1st and a 2nd when they traded him from the Packers to get him from the Packers. This didn't work out, and you brought up how this team's now a contender. We'll get to the next team in a second, but a certain team in this same division, like, sat up in their gaming chair. I'm looking at the meme right now. Like, whenever this trade went down, another team did something a couple hours ago that I think was very under the radar for another great wide receiver.
Yeah.
But about this, this was a very predictable trade. We talked about it when the news came out about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and I'm surprised it happened this fast. I guess a lot of teams weren't in on him as we thought. It looked like it was all going to be New York Jets or bust. It's what Devontae Adams wanted, and this is the case of a wide receiver kind of getting what he wants. You went off about this, but that was like about contracts. This was about, like, he wants out, he wants a trade. And for a guy like Devontae Adams, I think it makes sense to get traded now because the Raiders aren't going to win. They're not going to win anything with that QB room. The Steelers, they got whooped by the Steelers, and that's saying something. The Steelers don't score a lot of points. They finally scored a lot of points against the Raiders. But, like, you can't win anything with Aiden O'Connell as your QB, Gardner Minshew as your QB. Respect to Gardner Minshew, as we are. I think you and I are big on Gardner Minshew and what he's done. He's a perfect bridge QB. But the Raiders need to find the next guy that they want to lead this franchise, like they wanted Derek Carr to lead this franchise. And I don't think they can do that just yet. I think they're going to wait until this upcoming draft, see where they land, what's going to be there. As a guy like Quinn Ewers, someone maybe they're looking at, because he's a guy that a lot of fans are looking at right now in the NFL to be one of the best quarterback prospects. I know people are high on Shedeur Sanders as well, but, like, I'm not really as high on him as Quinn Ewers personally. But, like, there's going to be some talent in this draft class, and the Raiders, I think they're officially in tank mode. They don't have to worry about pleasing a star. I know Nicholas just brought up Max Crosby, maybe the Lions, with the very upsetting Aiden Hutchinson injury. I hated seeing that. I'm a big Aiden Hutchinson guy. The Lions are probably my team behind the Pittsburgh Steelers, just because I have some family that are big Lions guys. But, like, that one sucks to see. But, like, Max Crosby really fits on that what the Lions want. I think he's a gritty player. I think we can talk about that in a little bit as well. But this was a trade that was very predictable. It's what this is a rare situation of the player gets what the player gets. The player, I guess what the player gets what the player wants. Because we sometimes see teams will just send them off somewhere else where they don't want to go just out of spite. but the Raiders must have respected the heck out of Davante Adams, what he did. I think they realized it just wasn't going to work out. I think it didn't work out once they got rid of Derek Carr and didn't bring him back. I think that's where the trade officially died, because Davante Adams was really hyped to go play for Derek Carr. They played together in college. They were buddies on, I think, Fresno State it was.
Yeah.
These guys are BFFs, and that's why people connected the Saints to Davante Adams, because Derek Carr, possible destination. But clearly, it was always the nostalgia that he wanted. He wanted to go back with his QB that basically made him in the NFL, made him to be the star he is. And Davante Adams, I think, is going to have a big input on this Jets team. Now, the question is, and I'll ask you this, I would presume Garrett Wilson's catch numbers might go down, maybe a tad, because Aaron Rodgers might have a little bit of favoritism here with that connection he has with Davante Adams and wanting to find him. And I'm very curious this Sunday night how a team like the Steelers is going to plan around this, because Mike Tomlin already, I don't know if you saw his quote saying they were preparing for Adams last week against the Raiders. They're already preparing for him this week. So they already know how to play against Davante Adams. They're probably going to double team him, but I don't know how you can leave a guy like Garrett Wilson on the other end wide open. So who is going to get the most receptions in with the Jets after this trade? Do you think Davante Adams? I think he's their wide receiver one, I think, just because the connection already there. But, like, who does Aaron Rodgers throw the ball mainly to? What do you think?
True. Yeah, he's got to be a wide receiver one. I mean, this is the best this is one of the best receivers in the NFL. This is one of the best receivers that we've seen in our generation. This is one of the best receivers in NFL history. The guy's a straight dog, and, you know, he has former chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. He's, you know, really, he's just a damn good receiver at the end of the day, and I think that's what Rodgers is looking for. And, you know, watching that Jets game against the Bills, they lost that game because Mike Williams fell down on a route and ran the wrong route. He shouldn't have run that route. But Rodgers could have thrown it to someone else. Breece Hall was open for a first down. I don't know if you saw that. Breece Hall was wide open for what would have been a first down. But Aaron Rodgers has always been the guy to never blame himself. It is always someone else's fault. It is never going to be Aaron Rodgers' fault. You mean, you saw it. He starts losing games. All of a sudden, he fires his coach. It's not the first time that's even happened. He fired Mike McCarthy in Green Bay when Mike McCarthy was doing a decent job. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I've never been a fan of Aaron Rodgers just because of the type of guy he is with this stuff. He's just never going to take accountability, and, you know, good for him that now he has Davante Adams, but you better win the damn Super Bowl now, Rodgers, or else you have no excuse. You have no excuse. And, you know, this is getting into our biggest top five what ifs. If Rashad Mendenhall never fumbles that damn football, Aaron Rodgers has zero Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And we are talking about Aaron Rodgers as like one of the biggest like jokes in the NFL. Like, oh, okay, buddy, win a ring. Why don't you win a ring? And, you know, if Rashad Mendenhall never fumbled, we would not be talking about Aaron Rodgers so highly. We'd be like, oh, Aaron Rodgers finally needs to win a ring. No, I hate this narrative on Aaron Rodgers that he is this unbelievable dude. He's good. He's great. But I'm sick of the glaze on him. I mean, look what he's done this year. He's been bad, straight up bad this year.
Yeah.
And getting Davante Adams is going to make him a lot better. So I can't really hate anymore because they're gonna be pretty good with Adams. And I think this Jets team's gonna be they're gonna be a contender, I think, to win this division now.
I agree. But I guess this is a perfect segue into the next trade that happened. Since he said they're a contender, I want to talk about a certain Buffalo Bills. A couple hours ago, this came out of nowhere. I really didn't see it until I got a fantasy football notification on my phone. Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills responded to this Davante Adams news the best they could. I mean, the Davante Adams trade is going to steal the spotlight from this one, but Amari Cooper is by far one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL today. I think we talked about him a couple weeks ago being a guy that the Browns might actually trade because the Browns, they're 1-5 right now. This is a team that's going to be going on a fire sale, I think. I think it's draft picks over everything right now. I guess realistically they could save their season, but that was before they just traded away their number one wide receiver. So their wide receiver room is now led by Jerry Jeudy, who hasn't been doing much. Maybe David Njoku as their tight end. What else? I mean, Deshaun Watson has already played terrible. Who does he have? He just lost his number one threat. Amari Cooper is now a Buffalo Bill. And here's the interesting thing. So they did this right after the Davante Adams trade. No one's really talking about this one as much. But look at the cores. Look at the five. So the Jets now have a core of Rodgers, Breece Hall, Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Alan Lazard. The Bills have Josh Allen, James Cook, Amari Cooper, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid. I really like Dalton Kincaid. I don't think he gets a lot of love. But I want to ask you this, and I like this comment someone said. They said individually, the Jets, they have the advantage. But overall boost to a team to the next level, probably the Bills. Cooper is such a perfect, and I mean perfect addition to this Bills offense. He is perfect. He's a deep threat Josh Allen, I think, needs. That is not a young guy like Khalil Shakir or Keon Coleman. I think those guys are still going to get the ball. I don't think it's going to be like the Jets where it might just be running through one or two guys. Josh Allen has more weapons, I think. Josh Allen has reliable weapons. He has a solid rookie in Coleman. He has Khalil Shakir, who's done a lot. He has a pretty nice tight end that I really like in Dalton Kincaid that not a lot of people talk about as well. And now he has Amari Cooper. James Cook also hasn't been awful, as he's been a steady running back. But Josh Allen, I like more so than Aaron Rodgers this season. And I think, although the Jets look better on paper, this Bills team added a big boost. I think this is the boost to give their team some more wins, and they're going to win this division still. And this was a great response to these two teams played each other last night, and both these teams make a trade the next day. How about that? These two, the Jets lose, the Bills win. The Bills are 4-2, the Jets are 2-4. The Jets clearly are like, we're going to get these games back. We're going to add a top wide receiver. The Bills go like, you thought, we're going to add another wide receiver as well, and we're both going to have, I think both these teams, I'll say it like this, added a wide receiver one in their own way. The Bills, I think, they have the better depth. The Jets clearly have the star power, but at some points, the star power might screw over teams. They're going to want the ball more. I hope Garrett Wilson doesn't become the guy. I don't think he will. I hope he doesn't become some type of player that's like, I want the ball more, and start getting upset that Davante Adams is getting the ball. On the Bills, on the other hand, I think all of these guys are going to share the wealth. Amari Cooper is not going to be the guy to be a ball hog. He never has been. This guy's been traded 3 times in his career. He's been traded to different teams. This is just another destination. Yep. So, I mean, this guy was a Raider. He was a Brown. Now he's a Bill. I think I'm missing another team in there. But this is a guy that is very decent. I think he's a very disrespected, underrated wide receiver. And I think this was a great move for the Buffalo Bills. I think it's a great weapon. And like Nicholas just in the chat, this is the Bills' chance. The Chiefs are missing the weapons on offense, and the Bills just got to take advantage of it. And this was taking advantage of it. They added Amari Cooper, great wide receiver. But yeah, I think the Bills and Jets did a lot today. I think they took advantage of a wide receiver market that's going to be very cutthroat in the next month. There's teams that need wide receivers, and these two teams jumped on probably the 2 best options. So I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, I look at this trade. This is great for the Bills. I mean, this is a great wide receiver. Amari Cooper is still a great wide receiver in the NFL. The dude's just a flat-out stud. And for him to have Josh Allen now, this is a huge weapon now for Josh Allen, who has lacked a wide receiver core. Keon Coleman just hasn't lived up to the expectations that he was supposed to as a rookie. And who else do they have? Did they have I'm trying to think.
Khalil Shakir.
They have Shakir, who's been their best target. Mac Hollins, dude, runs around barefoot.
Kincaid's their guy.
Kincaid, but their weapons, wide receiver wise, have just not been it this year. So I think bringing in Amari Cooper is huge for Buffalo, and I think Nicholas is right. This is the Bills saying, okay, we got to be all in. The Jets just made a push. We got to make that push too, so we can stay ahead in this division. And I like this for the Bills. I think this is a very, very good trade for Buffalo. And yeah,
here was the
should be a good time.
Here's the compensation. I didn't bring this up. Okay. Both teams get 2 things out of this, including I'll add, I guess, Amari Cooper to that. So the Browns are only getting a 3rd round pick in 2025 and in a 7th rounder in 2026. The Bills are getting Amari Cooper and a 2025 6th round pick. just looking at this, I think the Bills won this trade in a heartbeat. I know people
Yep.
like to grade draft picks, and you can't really call this trade a win for the Browns yet or grade it because these picks haven't been made. Who knows? Maybe the Browns find a hidden gem type of running back or wide receiver in the third round, like most teams do. Maybe a very solid lineman, which I think they can. Maybe they find the next Joe Thomas. Who knows? Some of those linemen are in these types of drafts. But that can be something we talk about down the line when the draft season comes around. But this is a very interesting trade. I think it's very under the radar. And like Nicholas said, they got rid of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, and they turned it into I think a pretty underrated wide receiver core, including their tight end. I think Josh Allen can work with it. I don't think he's also going to have much complaining from these wide receivers. I think they're grateful to be there. That's why I like the Bills' chemistry. They got rid of Stephon Diggs, who personally didn't show it much these last couple years with the Buffalo Bills. And Josh Allen looked like he was kind of getting upset. He wasn't getting the football. And now he's on the Houston Texans, and he's kind of thriving with the Texans. He had a couple pretty good games so far with C.J. Stroud, and I think it's a great fit for him. But this Bills team was always built on trusting the chemistry the receivers have with the QB. Josh Allen kind of had chemistry with just one wide receiver in Stephon Diggs, the guy getting the ball the most. Now I think he's going to have a lot more chemistry. He has three guys, a solid tight end, a solid running back to throw some check downs to if he wants to. And the Bills are going to win some games. I think this is a trade that maybe propels them to the next level. They were 3-0 at a time. Now they're 4-2. They went on a 2-game losing streak, and this is how you respond. You get the win to get you back on your winning ways last night, and you immediately make a trade the day that the team that you beat also made a trade for a wide receiver one. So the AFC East kind of cooking right now. I mean, the Patriots and Dolphins right now just being left behind in the dust. My Dolphins Super Bowl contender pick is looking awful after the Tua injury, and like Tyreek Hill's kind of been silent these last few games. Same with Jalen Waddle. But these two teams, they're going to be in the mix. And who knew this Sunday night football game coming up between the Steelers and Jets? It's going to be a big one. It really will be a very, very, very big football game coming up. But yeah, you have anything else to say about this one? Anything that sticks out?
I don't know. Not really.
It can be a confusing trade, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah,
I think it needed to happen.
I think it's actually a pretty good trade for Buffalo. I think honestly, my favorite part of this trade is the Cleveland Browns lost Amari Cooper, which is
I think
awesome
the Browns
because,
gave up.
yeah, they're fully they know their season's done. It's over. It's wraps. Deshaun Watson he is going to be the worst. I love it. We know this every episode. I love Deshaun Watson's downfall, and this is only making his downfall sweeter. It makes it better. I like it a lot. And yeah, he's now lost his best weapon, easily his best weapon, and Nick Chubb's gonna be coming back soon. Nick Chubb's got to be sick. He's gonna be like, oh, dude, now it's literally just gonna run the ball with me every play to get it out of Deshaun Watson's hands. So this is good for Steelers fans because now there's no way we're gonna be last in the division.
I don't think they were going to be last.
I don't think we were gonna be. I think we're kind of a lock for second place in this division because the Bengals are.
I had us at third, kind of fighting for second. The Bengals haven't looked that good.
Second. I think I had us.
You had them at 2. I remember you had them at 2. I had us at 3. I think we each had the Bengals and Steelers flip flopped. I think a lot of people did. So many people were high on Cleveland for some reason. It's probably the Myles Garrett love for him winning a depoy. It's just the glaze of the national sports media, but at the same time, they just have an awful QB. And like I went on a rant about it last time, Mr. Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, doesn't have the guts to make a change. It's kind of funny to watch. But there's two other stories I kind of want to talk about today if we want to move on. Sure. Speaking of change, I did bring up one and talk about the Fields, Russell Wilson stuff coming out, but I want to jump to this first. Since we're bringing up GMs and coaches, do you see the thing about Jerry Jones today that went out? He went on a Dallas Sports Talk and basically told them it's like this is a Dallas the fan 105.3. Yeah. He said he didn't like being questioned about the Cowboys offseason practically during his appearance live on the show, and he in quotes this says, "Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something. ... That's not your job. I'll get somebody else to ask these questions. I'm not kidding." This is a day after the Cowboys just got absolutely destroyed. I picked them to lose this game. I think we both did, but what did I say? They suck at home. They got murdered at home. And you know what people are mad about? And I saw Stephen A. Smith said this. I personally don't really listen to Stephen A. Smith a lot, but I agreed with this take. This is a team that lost Tony Pollard. They didn't have a solid running back coming into this year. Instead of going after Derrick Henry, which Jerry Jones has the money for, he could have went out and signed a Derrick Henry or another guy. He settled for Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
What? He settled for Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott. Look at the things Derrick Henry is doing right now with the Baltimore Ravens. As a Steelers fan,
could have got Josh Jacobs. You could have got. There's a lot of running backs. Aaron Jones.
Listen, as Steelers fans, I think we can agree Derrick Henry's looking like a front runner for Offensive Player of the Year right now. Mm-hmm. He's looking amazing. It was a great fit. He could have been a great fit with Dallas as well, but good old Jerry Jones didn't want to spend the money. And it's kind of funny, and this is my thing about the Cowboys. They're not going to win until they get an actual general manager. I think a lot of people know this. People want them to sell the team. That doesn't matter. They need an actual GM that's smart enough to make some decisions. Not this 80-year-old man.
Jerry Jones thinks he's the head coach. He thinks he's the quarterback. Yeah. He thinks he's the offensive coordinator. Let me tell you something right now, Jerry Jones. You're on borrowed time, right? And you need a damn Super Bowl, okay? Because whatever the hell has been happening in Dallas these last few years, you have a good-ass team. You have the best receiver in the NFL right now. I don't think that's ridiculous to say that. You've got a fringe elite quarterback. Dak Prescott has shown signs of being elite. I would say recently he's not been elite. And you have a all-time defense. You have a best defense you've had in the last 30 years. And Micah Parsons is different. He's awesome. Trayvon Diggs is all right. He's been lackluster a little bit, but I mean, you got to do something, right? And I don't think it's your players. I just think it's his management. He's, for lack of better words, he's a prick. And he will not let anything happen unless he thinks it's the best idea. He thinks it's he calls his own stadium Jerry World, for Christ's sake. I mean, he is the biggest ego out of any owner in the NFL. And he thinks he's the coach. He thinks he's the quarterback. Like, Jerry Jones needs humbled. And for him to go on a radio show and tell people he's going to fire him because they don't agree, dude, get a life, bro. That's the media. You're just down sick because you just got your ass kicked by Detroit. Okay. Like, Don't go come at people's jobs who are just asking you questions because it's their damn job. I mean, Jerry Jones has always been kind of a loser. He always thinks he's always just thought he's the shit, and he's not. And
can I say this?
Yeah,
it's a funny meme I'm seeing. NFL memes. Cowboys traded Amari Cooper to the Browns for a 2022 5th-round pick. 2 years later, the Browns traded Cooper to the Bills for a 3rd-round pick. Jerry Jones. End quote. Hell no. There's nobody that could effing come in here and be a better GM. What a guy. He's threatening to fire sports radio hosts.
Yeah.
Like,
what a loser.
It was such a awkward. I don't know if you saw the clip, but you can probably look it up after this or whatever. It's so awkward. The host thought he was kidding, and all these 3 hosts are just like, oh, he's actually threatening us. This old man's pretty mad. He's pretty upset, and I'll bring this up as well. I think where Jerry Jones also messed up this offseason, he didn't get the running back he needed. But also, it's along the lines of he waited forever to do the Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb stuff.
Yep.
He took so long, and you know what that does? That gives the player more leverage.
We almost didn't get CeeDee Lamb this year.
Or, you know what? He waited so long, the player gets more leverage in the contract the longer you wait. Yeah. They're going to want more money in the talks. And you know what? Jerry Jones bit the bullet right there. He was kind of stupid doing that, and he's been stupid a lot. And this is what is holding back the Dallas Cowboys. They don't have a competent GM. Your owner, in my opinion, should not be your GM. You need someone else to do that job. Jerry Jones getting to the point where he's probably going to be selling the team in a couple years. As crazy as that sounds, he needs to call it quits. Every owner, I'm a big Pirates fan, as you can see. This is my spiel. Owners need to sell the team when it's not working out. Hey, Cowboys, how about you sell the team before things go bad, worse than they already are? We see it in Pittsburgh all the time. You see how it is in Oakland. They just lost their baseball team. Yep. How about you sell the team before things get worse?
Not
Just saying.
Not ridiculous.
But yeah, Jerry Jones, stupid stuff today. But another change might be happening this week. The
To our own
endless
Pittsburgh Steelers.
the endless stuff in Pittsburgh, the endless QB drama, and the drama continues. It comes out today before.
I don't understand this, honestly. I really don't.
It comes out before the Mike Tomlin press conference that someone confirmed that Fields was going to be benched after starting 4-2 for Russell Wilson here. Sources, the Steelers plan to give Russell Wilson first team reps in practice this week, putting him in line to make his season debut and start against the Jets. Pittsburgh's 4-2 at the Bills, but Wilson's calf is fully healed, and now he gets a shot. I think people are taking this out of context and just assuming just because first team reps, he's starting. Tomlin, I think, also said in the press conference, Fields is also taking the first team reps. They're both going to be with the starters. They're both going to be playing. And I think a lot of people aren't realizing this, and I'm going to give both sides of the story. Russell Wilson, I think, is going to start this week. I think Tomlin will do it just because of the fact he was named the starter before the season even started. The Steelers dug their own grave with this situation, naming him the starter, knowing a guy like Justin Fields was going to show up. There's no way Mike Tomlin didn't speak with Omar Khan before that trade went down before the Pickett stuff went down, or even before, not even after, before Pickett was getting traded. There's no way Mike Tomlin didn't know Justin Fields was coming or it was in the works. Justin Fields was linked with the Pittsburgh Steelers for ever since the Bears news came out that they were getting a QB and they were moving on from Justin Fields. You and I talked about this all the time for months, and then he got traded to the Steelers. But then after he gets traded, it's Russell Wilson's the starter. And that was the whole thing with Kenny Pickett as well. That's why Kenny Pickett wanted out. He wanted to compete with the starting job. So they named Russell Wilson the starter before Fields comes in. Fields comes in, and everyone's like, okay, I want Justin Fields to be the starter. But then training camp happens. The infamous pushing sled. The greatest wrestling match of all time. It takes out Russell Wilson's calf. He gets hurt at training camp. We saw him take a couple snaps in the preseason, but Justin Fields is named the starter. Makes sense because he's hurt. So Justin Fields takes the Steelers to 3-0. They lose 2 in a row. Then they win on Sunday against the Raiders. They're now 4-2. They're in a pretty nice spot. They're in a better spot than the Bengals and Browns are. People thought the Steelers were going to be worse than them. The Browns look awful, and the Bengals look like they're going to start heating up soon, and the Ravens have caught up with the Steelers after that 2-game losing streak. But here's the thing. Justin Fields has put up some pretty solid numbers, but I think the Steelers are going to make this change just because the aspect of it takes a half for this offense to get going. That's my biggest criticism I have for Justin Fields this season. I believe in Justin Fields, don't get me wrong, but I need to see him perform like he does in the second half the entire game. And it's not the quarterback's fault, mainly. It can be the offensive play calling and some of his wide receivers not performing well. But I think they want a QB that can start hot and end the game hot. Fields has shown it only in quarters 3 and 4. Not really 1 and 2. I don't think they have a touchdown. Maybe one this season. He hasn't done much in quarters 1 and 2. The Chargers, that game might have been his best game. It clicked in the second half. This week, clicked in the second half. Cowboys game, what happened? It clicked in the second half. They almost came back. The Falcons game, they scored only field goals. Broncos, they scored only 13 points. I get the reasoning behind wanting a switch. Fields isn't turning over the ball. I will say that. Exactly. And that is also what Tomlin wants. And I think that's why a lot of people don't want this. People just look at Russell. I think Russell Wilson gets more hate than he deserves. I like Russell Wilson. I think he's done good things in his career. I don't think he deserves all the hate he gets. I understand where it's coming from. But what the Steelers did, and I think where they screwed themselves, is before the season even started, naming Russell Wilson the starter. You are making your fan base mad if he is starting this week because Justin Fields, I'll say it, although his first half numbers aren't good, he's been winning you games. You're 4-2. You're tied for first with the Baltimore Ravens right now. You're in a better spot, and he's doing this with the offensive weapons the Steelers have given him that have not been that good. His wide receivers, they're not really doing much this year. Najee Harris finally woke up this past week. He had an amazing game. I'll just get that off my chest. Najee Harris proved a lot of people wrong this week. now 700-yard rushing games because it was 6 last time I talked about that. And then the defense has been their saving grace. But Justin Fields has been a guy. He's been mobile. He has a couple rushing touchdowns. He's been pretty fun to watch. And I'm on the side where it's like, yes, it's fun to watch, but I kind of want a passing game too. And the thing is that both of them have, one has, the other one doesn't. And I'll make this point, hand it back to you very quick. Fields can escape the pocket very well. And we've seen the Steelers O-line this season, especially Broderick Jones. I don't know if you saw the one play. He just let, I think it was Max Crosby or whoever it was, just run right past him. It went viral. It was really funny to watch. Fields can run away from that. And if he finds passes, some of them might be a little bit off target. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, he's more of the pocket passer. He's going to stand there. He's going to just be there to make the throws. But you know what happens with that? He's going to eat the pressure. He's going to eat the pressure that O-line gives him. So I'm very curious what's going to happen out of this. So I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, so Russell Wilson is now being named the starter. First of all, I think this is just complete bullshit, and this is just unfair to Justin Fields. He started 3-0, loses 2, wins 1, and he looks very good against the Raiders. He looked very good, ran in 2 touchdowns, but if he doesn't run those in, he probably would have passed for 1, maybe had Najee run 1 in. I mean, the dude is a playmaker, flat out a playmaker, okay? And when he came to Pittsburgh, I was not high on Justin Fields at all. I thought, okay, this guy sucks. He's just a running back. Dude, he can make passes. He has a good arm. He can make good throws. He's only had 1 interception this year. The dude has been very good for Pittsburgh so far. It's not fair to Fields. And here's my thing. A guy like Justin Fields, who has already been traded, who has already been not necessarily ran out of the city, because Chicago did like him, but the organization kind of ran him out for Caleb Williams, who has statistically not been as good as Justin Fields this year. And that hurts your confidence. Now you come to a new city. You're supposed to be the quarterback too. QB1 gets hurt. Now you're QB1. You start 3-0. You're like, oh my God, I'm back. I am the Justin Fields that I remember. I am the Justin Fields that was a top 5 pick. I'm the guy that I was at Ohio State. I'm finally back. I'm him again. And then you lose 2, and you start to be like, all right. And then you have a great game against Oakland. You were 4-2. Now, all of a sudden, you're benched for Russ. I mean, this is what you're doing is you're saying, all right, we're going to go out in primetime football, new quarterback, and we're just going to change this whole offense, who has been showing progression each week. The offense has been progressing each week. We finally scored 30 points for the first time
in a while
and forever with Justin Fields. It's not Fields, okay? It's not Fields' fault we're not scoring. George Pickens hasn't been open. He has not been. He's been getting double teamed, and George Pickens is not a good enough route runner to get open. George Pickens is your deep threat. You need another wide receiver, not necessarily a wide receiver better than George. You need someone to take the double team off of George. Like when AB was in Pittsburgh, we had Juju, and Juju was amazing, right?
Even before that.
Yep.
Martavis Bryant.
Exactly. Pittsburgh needs a good wide receiver too. Where the hell are the wide receivers? I'll tell you what, I get sick every time I raise my terrible towel in my Steelers jersey and I begin to wave it and I go, oh, we have Van Jefferson. Oh, Scotty Miller. Roman Wilson he played against the Raiders?
That made me upset. That made me so upset. I could go off on that. I'll say where is he?
I mean, he's been battling this leg issue. I saw, he was in his pads. He had all his pictures like this, like
they were hyping him up.
He had his rookie patch. Where the hell was he? I mean, Pittsburgh is a franchise. Pittsburgh's a team that has historically drafted incredible wide receivers. It's a team that's historically turned a wide receiver that no one's ever heard about to a top receiver in the NFL. You look at guys like Antonio Brown, Heath Miller, Hines Ward.
You could say Deontay Johnson from Toledo.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson, Juju. was, you know what I mean? He was a
Claypool
first.
for 1 year.
Yeah, Chase Claypool, like these guys that people are just not high on, and then they're studs in Pittsburgh, and that's what Pittsburgh has always been. We don't need to draft a receiver in the first round because we're going to get a dog in the later rounds, and he's going to be our guy. I mean, has just always been the Pittsburgh way. That's what's happened, and that's done now because we finally were like, all right, we're going to sign some free agents. Okay, if you're going to sign some free agents, get me someone good. Don't get me goddamn Van Jefferson and Scotty Miller, who I can probably run faster than. I mean, this is sickening. And it's not Fields' fault. It is not Justin Fields' fault. It is the wide receiver core. And last week, I blamed Najee Harris. I fully blamed Najee. I said, okay, dude's running like he's wearing jeans. He had a unbelievably good game. If Najee Harris can, I don't need 100 yards out of Najee every week. I know that is crazy. But if he can just run like that, I mean, dude, they would touch Najee and he'd be like, you know what I mean? No one, you couldn't tackle Najee on Sunday. You just couldn't. Najee was incredible. And he ran different. And I think that, they did run him downhill, but I think he ran a little pissed off because he's been hearing a lot of stuff. And then after his post-game interview, he kind of addressed it. A pissed off Najee Harris is amazing. And why we haven't been able to run the ball so good is because we can only pass the ball, right? And you utilize the pass to set up the run. Well, we can't pass the ball. We can't pass the ball at all. So that's why Najee Harris hasn't been able to run the ball good, because you utilize the pass to set up the run. And we can't utilize the pass because we have no wide receiver too. So whenever Najee Harris is lined up behind Justin Fields, the defense goes, oh, okay, yeah, they're running it here. And you know what? If we run commit and we get caught tripping, oh well, George Pickens might be open. Van Jefferson's not going to be open. By the time Justin Fields makes his second read, Broderick Jones is already on the ground, and Max Crosby's going to sack him. Like, it is not Fields' fault, and I'm here right now to say it is not Najee Harris' fault. I am totally changing my stance on Najee Harris, because it's not that he'd had a good game. It is now me realizing that you have to utilize the pass to set up the run. They teach you that in Pee Wee football. Utilize the pass to set up the run. That is basic football, right? You have a good passing offense, you can have a good rushing offense. Look at the Buffalo Bills. Who thought James Cook would be a great running back in the NFL? Nobody. You know why he's a great running back? Because they are such a good passing team that defenses can't run commit to James Cook. I mean, you look at all the best running backs in the NFL. They have elite passing. You know what I mean? It's not just, okay, we can run the ball. That will never happen in the NFL. So Pittsburgh, it's not a running back problem. It's not a quarterback problem. It's not a coaching problem, I really don't think, because the schemes looked solid. It's a wide receiver problem. These guys are 85 years old and should be in a retirement home, and they're running routes for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why is Van Jefferson on this team? Why is Scotty Miller on this team? George Pickens needs someone else. Roman Wilson, why did we draft you if you're not going to play, if your leg's falling off? Like, Calvin Austin is a return man. Calvin Austin is a wide receiver 4 that will get loose once in a while, and you can throw a deep ball and he's going to be open because he got single coverage. Yeah. That is what Calvin Austin is. Calvin Austin is not a starting NFL wide receiver to where he should be getting in every single rep.
Don't even get me started about Connor Hayward getting receptions and targets.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Why the hell is Connor Hayward getting targets in the National Football League? I'm serious.
And they're deep targets.
Connor Hayward is a fringe Canadian football player.
Connor Hayward's on the team because of his brother.
I mean, easily. He's a nepo. He's nepo, and he is literally only on this team because of Cam. And I think that they got Connor Hayward so that they would have a better chance of re-signing Cam, which is fine and all, but don't play the kid. He's not good, and he's as tall as you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How tall is he?
There's no way he's 6 foot.
I'm 5'6". I don't know is he taller than me? I would think he is.
I hope he's 5'11".
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
bro, you cannot have that as a tight end.
Here's an issue as well, and I liked all your points. I'll start with Connor Hayward since we're on him. Connor Hayward has more touchdowns this year than George Pickens.
Yeah,
1. He has 1. And I do think they should start Justin Fields this week. I think he's deserved it. He's played well enough. I know I spoke highly on Russell Wilson, but that's why I think they're going to still start Russell Wilson, even though they haven't confirmed it yet. They're just saying he's taking reps, and people are thinking that means he's going to be the starter. But Justin Fields is also taking those reps. I think Mike Tomlin is a smart enough guy to see he needs to ride the hot hand here. I get the numbers passing-wise haven't been the greatest, but still, you ride with the quarterback that's winning you football games. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this before I lose my point.
Don't even get me started on that point. Oh, go ahead.
I think this is a reasoning. This is my conspiracy theory here. I was thinking about this earlier, and I want to get this out of the way before I forget when I start talking about the wide receiver issue. What if they're wanting to bench Fields for one reason only? Mike Tomlin is a big Justin Fields guy, and I want you to hear me out here. We both know, and everyone knows Mike Tomlin and his stuff well. He was a big Justin Fields fan out of the draft. He would have been a guy he wanted to draft if the Steelers had that high of a draft pick, or for some reason they wanted to trade up for the pick at the time. Instead, they did not get him in the draft, and they ended up getting Pickett a few years later. Fields is a guy Mike Tomlin loves. Mike Tomlin clearly wants Fields to be the QB to lead the Steelers to glory. That is his dream. I think that's a lot of Steelers fans what they want to see, because I think Steelers fans are like Bears fans right now. We want to believe in Justin Fields. That's what I mean like that.
Yeah.
Bears fans are really still high on Justin Fields. I've never seen a fan base rally behind Justin Fields as much as Chicago Bears fans still. I still see comments about Bears fans commenting about every single thing Caleb Williams will do wrong, which I think it gets to a point where it's annoying nitpicking. But they love Justin Fields. They want to see him succeed. They thought he was done wrong by the Chicago Bears because we both said it when that happened. The Bears gave Caleb Williams so many weapons. What weapons did Justin Fields have? Justin Fields is kind of in the same situation with the Steelers. What weapons does he have? I think he has more than what he did have, but like George Pickens is your number one guy. Like, and I'll get to this as well. So I think Justin Fields deserves to start, but in my head, I think they're going to, well, actually I didn't make my point. What if the Steelers don't want to, like, they're benching Fields for a little bit. What if they're just doing that to make the contract cheaper? And as dumb as that sounds, as annoying as that sounds, the Steelers, I wouldn't classify them as a small market team. But you think of the other small markets in sports. What if they're taking a play out of the Pittsburgh Pirates playbook? As annoying as that sounds, much as I hate to say this, what if they're just not letting him play, taking away some reps to make his contract cheaper, to look at a smaller sample size? Like, it's a big conspiracy I'm thinking in my head, but I think other people might be thinking about this. I know the Rooneys. We know what the Rooneys do. They don't like to spend that much money.
Yeah, no one does. I'm surprised
they spend all the money on Patrick Queen. And that goes into my next point. All that Patrick Queen money, he finally, I think, had a pretty good game against the Raiders. Took long enough. But Omar Khan, I'm a big Omar Khan guy. People call him the con artist. And I'll make this quick so we can get to our final segment. He used so much money on Patrick Queen, which I was shocked by. What has he built in that wide receiver room? Omar Khan I think he's let a lot of Steelers fans down for the first time as a GM. Omar Khan's done great things as a GM. He traded Chase Claypool for Joey Porter Jr. He fleeced the Bears. Look at Claypool now. He's now on the Dolphins practice squad, I think, or just injured. He's probably going to be in the Canadian Football League at a point, or XFL. He traded Russell Wilson. He acquired Russell Wilson for nothing. The Broncos are paying his contract. He's here from the vet min. Justin Fields, practically the same thing. He got Fields practically for free. And he didn't take his option, so they're not paying him the money he wants yet. They're waiting on that. But what has he done in that wide receiver room? He's done absolutely nothing. They wasted so much time going after a guy like Brandon Ayuk, and every other wide receiver found a new home during that time. Mike Williams, they were in on. As much as I still wouldn't like that, It's better than Van Jefferson. I would rather Mike Williams be your number 2 than Van Jefferson. I would feel much better.
I agree.
But what happens? You waste your time on Brandon Ayuk all offseason. Mike Williams goes to the Jets. They're wasting their time on people they're not going to get. I think they only have $10 million in cap space. It would have took a miracle to get a Devontae Adams because they would have to restructure so many deals. You're going to have to re-sign TJ Watt in a couple years. I think it's 2 years from now, maybe next year. It's coming up. You got to restructure some guys. You gave Cam Hayward a lot of money, and I will say Cam Hayward has played pretty well this season. I will give the benefit of the doubt there. But final point here, I'll speak my praise of Najee Harris very quick. Najee Harris is a guy we both aren't really high on as much than we want to be, but I think he shut a lot of people up this week. And I'll say this as well about Najee. I said this to my buddies back home. That is the type of game you need to have if you want to silence your haters. That's the type of game I want to see George Pickens have. So then he can start talking about he's always open. George Pickens had a couple drops against the Raiders. He had a touchdown and he dropped it. That's a catch Pickens has made in the past.
Yeah.
Something isn't going on with Pickens right now in his head. He's dealing with some mental stuff, I think, about football. I think he's relishing too much in the haters right now. I think he needs to get over that. I think we all can see that. 3 receptions, 8 targets. He did have the deep pass, but then he dropped the easy touchdown in garbage time, of course. But like, if you're Pickens, you want that. Pickens should have at least 4 touchdowns by now. 2 of them, he had the one called back, I think in Atlanta. He had the fumble against the Colts. He had this drop, and I think there's another one in there against Atlanta or Denver. But he's a guy that I need to see. I want to see silence the haters against the Jets. I really do. And we can talk about this more on Friday, but props to Najee Harris. But if I'm making a bet, I think they are going to start Russ. As much as I really don't want to see it. I mean, I'm 50-50 on it just because I want to see how he does in the first half. But I don't think things are going to change as much as they are with the O-line they have, how underwhelming it's been. Broderick Jones has kind of been underwhelming. Sam Alou, thank goodness he's back. They have James Daniels, who's also hurt. They just lost Troy Fautanu. You're starting a rookie in Mason McCormick, an FCS guy who's, I guess, pretty solid. I was pretty hyped for him out of the draft. I want to see more out of him. But, like, I don't think much changes with Russ. I think they got to stick with Fields. But in my heart wants Fields. But knowing how the Steelers are going to treat this situation, I think they're going to go with Russ as much as I don't want to see it. So, yeah.
All right. Well, do we want to – we had a good Steelers talk.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Good stuff.
Do we want to do a quick Weddle and then get into our Top 5 Tuesday segment to wrap it off?
Might as well.
All right, let's do a quick Weddle. Hold on. Weddle. All right, we can see it.
Yes, I'm going to zoom it up.
Oh, crap.
Let's get it.
Hold on. This just never works. Great.
Make it full screen.
Weddle. Just try to get these ads out of here. Who should we go? Who should we start with first? I think this might be only skill players, honestly.
I saw Calvin Austin.
Yeah.
Goodness. Oh, this is the unlimited one. I like skill players. I like that. No more Cody Ford.
Yeah.
What are we thinking? You want to start? We just want to go wide receiver?
Yeah, let's go wide receiver.
So we went Jamar Chase AFC North last time. We want to try NFC?
Yeah, let's go Amon-Ra.
Yeah, go Amon-Ra, see what happens. I swear. This would be hilarious.
Oh, it's bad. It's a bad bounce. All right, he's in the NFC.
Oh. Wait, is he in the NFC?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't think he is. It's all gray.
Oh, he's in the AFC, I mean. Yeah, he's in the AFC.
So drafted after 2021? Is that what that means?
Drafted recently, yeah.
Or before? Like, okay.
We'll see.
AFC. Try, you know what? Let's go.
Drafted late. How about this? Puka. Puka's in the AFC or any?
No, NFC. He's a Ram. Go with you know what? He was drafted early, but I just want to see if we get the same division. Try Garrett Wilson. Just Oh, Calvin Austin. I swear if this is just put it.
He's in the AFC.
AFC North? Wait, no.
No, he's in the AFC. Oh man. All right, we gotta nail this next one. He's not a wide receiver. Why are we guessing wide receivers? Oh my god.
He's an older guy.
Yeah. Older running back. So running back.
Did we try QBs? You want to name one?
Yeah, let's try quarterback.
Put Russell Wilson just because. See if we can get
he's
QB.
the AFC North. He's in the AFC North. We're giving away a free guess there.
Well, no, if it's yellow, does that mean he's not in the AFC North?
It means in AFC. AFC, just not in the AFC North.
Okay, go Josh Allen.
Okay, he's in the AFC
He's
South.
QB.
AFC
Round
South.
1. Trevor
Wow.
Lawrence. T-Law.
Yeah.
T-Law or CJ Stroud? One of them. CJ Stroud.
He's drafted higher than number 1. AFC West.
Wait. It's
So
not Mahomes.
Hold on. Who's in that division? That is the Raiders, Broncos.
It could be Herbert. Mahomes.
Bang! Justin Herbert. Let's go.
Justin
about
Herbert. We're big Justin Herbert guys here on the final
Oh,
whistle.
yeah. Hell yeah.
How about that? Justin Herbert. We have all these stars and then Calvin
Wow.
Austin, number 2 pick.
Wow. That was fire. Justin Herbert. was a
Electric,
good-
you could
good
say.
pick there. Wow.
Well,
Happy with that. All right. Let's get into our new segment.
right.
Segment is going to be Top 5 Tuesdays. Do you want to start or should I start with my top 5? Top 5 Tuesday. Top 5 biggest what ifs in NFL history.
Yeah. So
Is our segment.
if you're watching this later and you don't know, we are starting Top 5 Tuesdays. We're each going to make a top 5 PowerPoint, and we got the idea from Nicholas in the chat. You should do your top 5 what ifs.
Top 5 what
since
ifs.
You're already sharing your screen, so I say you should go first here. So these are all made up. It's what if you could do what if some guy didn't get injured? What if a play went differently? What if a draft went differently? So Danny, take the floor.
My top 5 biggest what ifs in NFL history. Is it still working? Let's see.
It's not switching.
Yeah, I'm doing a little multi-view here. All right, my top 5 biggest what ifs in NFL history. Coming in. Oh, hold on. I actually messed this up. Coming in. All right, so I'm starting from 5 to 1. My 5 was going to be, I changed it last second, was going to be what if Michael Vick liked dogs?
Okay.
And
Okay.
and then I scrapped that and I was like, Michael Vick was in jail for like 540 days, which I was like, damn, yeah, he missed like 2 years of his NFL career because he was not nice to dogs. So I scrapped that. I just didn't think it was good enough. But I liked my concept there where I was going. Number 5. What if the Minneapolis Miracle never happened? Okay. I have context, the key point, and the impact here. Context. In the 2017 NFC divisional round, the Vikings pulled off a last-second touchdown. We all know the Minneapolis Miracle. The pass. What if it would have been picked off by Marcus Williams? Earlier in this game, Marcus Williams had an interception on almost the exact. It was almost the exact play call. You see it right there. He had the interception. Then it happens again, and he tries to undercut Diggs, and then we all know the famous call: Diggs, sideline, touchdown. The impact this would have happened without that miracle play. Obviously, the Saints go on to win this game. It would have been picked off. They take a knee. Drew Brees is going to go on to the NFC Championship. He's going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Then we never see the Philly special. One of the best plays in Super Bowl history is erased because of this. The Saints beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. This was a cracked Saints team. I want you to remember. This was prime Michael Thomas slant boy. Drew Brees was still a dog. They had Alvin Kamara I mean, this was a really good Saints team. Their defense was unbelievable too. I think that this Eagles team would have had a very good chance to beat the Eagles, and I think that they also would have had a good chance to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Drew Brees would have had 2 rings in his NFL career, and we'd be talking about the Saints and guys like Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas a little differently. So Minnesota Miracle never happened. I think that's my 5th biggest what if in NFL history. Number 4. What if RG3 never got hurt? RG3 was a spectacular rookie in 2012, leading the Redskins to the playoffs before injuring his knee in the wild card round, one of the biggest injuries in the NFL. Snap over his head, goes back for the ball, just collapses. Everyone's heart sunk. Very happy for Commanders fans now that they have Jaden Daniels. So now they have a franchise quarterback finally. After this injury, RG3's just career took a huge plummet. I mean, he was just never the same. I mean, you think of him in 2012, he was so good. I mean, he was the most explosive quarterback ever. And so this is my impacts are kind of like what would have happened. A healthy RG3 could have established a whole new era for the Commanders and potentially leading them to multiple playoff appearances, what I think is a lock. I think they would have easily been to multiple playoff appearances, and he would have for sure been their long-term quarterback option. I think just now in the NFL, we would have seen RG3 kind of retire, or maybe a few years ago he would have retired and go down as one of the best quarterbacks of that generation. But I think this is one of the biggest what ifs. This is, I think, very comparable to Derrick Rose of the NBA, which is easily the biggest what if in NBA history. Number 3, what if Drew Bledsoe never got hurt? And I think this might be number 1 on a lot of people's lists. But obviously, if you watched that the Patriots documentary that came out on Apple TV, it was unbelievable, very good. 2001, Drew Bledsoe is injured early in the season, allowing a very young, I think rookie Tom Brady to come in as a starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. Bledsoe, if he never gets hurt, Bledsoe was already a Pro Bowl quarterback. He was already very good. And people were upset whenever Belichick said we're going to go with Brady once Bledsoe was healthy, just because of how good Bledsoe was for the Patriots. So if Bledsoe stays, the Patriots don't have that dynasty that they had with Brady, and a lot of other teams win Super Bowls, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. We would have 2 more Super Bowls, in my opinion, without Tom Brady being a pest. We never have to worry about the Jesse James situation. That never happens. We have no deflate gate that ever happens. A lot of teams win Super Bowls. I think Peyton Manning would have a lot more Super Bowl victories, and I think we would probably be talking about Peyton Manning being the best quarterback of all time if Tom Brady never touches the field. And that would probably be one of the biggest what ifs ever in NFL history. I think this is, in seriousness, probably the biggest crazy what if. But I mean, Bill Belichick could have got fired. We wouldn't be talking about Bill Belichick as the greatest coach of all time. This is probably the biggest one. Number 2, what if the Seahawks just ran the damn ball? Okay, I mean, come on. With like seconds left, under a minute left, 1 yard to go, Russell Wilson in shotgun says, "Hut," hands it off to Marshawn Lynch. Breaks the plane, as you see right there. There's the picture because it happened. Marshawn Lynch goes in. The Seattle Seahawks go up. Tom Brady has less than a minute to go down the field and try and win that game. I think they would need more than a field goal, so they would need a touchdown. And they lose the game. Seahawks win the game. Russell Wilson has 2 Super Bowl victories. Tom Brady would only have 5 Super Bowl victories. Tom Brady have 6?
Yeah.
Or he has 7.
But he has 7 with the Bucks.
7. So Tom Brady would only have 6 Super Bowls ever. The New England Patriots would only have 5 Super Bowls in their career. So the Steelers would still have the most Super Bowls in NFL history. Seattle ran the ball. They would likely score a touchdown, winning the game, securing back-to-back championships. This changed Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll's career for sure, their legacy. I think if they win this game, that there is so much less pressure on them. And I think we could still be talking about Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. And I think Pete Carroll might still have a job. The Legion of Boom would probably stay intact because everyone was pissed off. Number 1, This one hurts me. This one hurts me. It hurt me to type. It hurt me to think about. It makes me sad. I'm serious. It makes me sad. What if Vontaze Burfict never gave Antonio Brown CTE? During the 2016 wild card, Antonio Brown, in the late stages of the game, runs a slant, catches the ball, turns the corner, and just eats Vontaze Burfict's shoulder pad. AB is the first person to ever hit the Damar Hamlin. He was on the ground like this, right? Or the Tua, not the Damar Hamlin. AB hit the Tua, and AB was cooked, and we were like, oh my God, he's hurt bad. We won the game, ended up to win the game, but we lost this playoff run because we didn't have AB in later games. So the Steelers, again, could have gone on to win a Super Bowl that year. Without the hit, Brown might have continued his trajectory as one of the top receivers in NFL history. I think Antonio Brown, without this hit, would have ended up as the best receiver in NFL history, just purely based on stats. I mean, in this era, AB was on pace to break every record. He was on pace to break Jerry Rice's records, Randy Moss's records, all those touchdown and receiving yards records. Yeah, it was it's a sad thing that happened. So AB doesn't get CTE. AB was a nice guy. He very, very good guy. And then, he doesn't go to the Raiders. He doesn't go out of that contract. He never goes to the Patriots. He never goes to the Bucs. He never, throws his jersey off. I think the Steelers win a Super Bowl without him. We would still have AB on this team right now, and he would still be good. AB could still be a good receiver in the NFL. So I think that, you look back at some of these teams, like when we lost to the Browns in the playoffs, we're 100% winning that game with prime AB. So this is my biggest what if in NFL history. If AB never got CTE, I think we're looking at the best receiver in NFL history. The Steelers have one or two more Super Bowls, and this is the biggest what if in my opinion in NFL history. I mean, you can look at the Drew Bledsoe one, but this is a huge what if. So that's my top five. Top five Tuesday. Nice. How would you rate my list?
So before we do that, I know Nicholas is in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. The Tom Brady Raiders rumor is official. I guess he bought a portion of it. I saw that over the weekend.
Tom Brady buys the Raiders.
I did a couple funny ones too. I'm happy you put the what if they ran the ball in there, because I left that out of mine. I also left out the Bledsoe one to add some interesting ones. You got creative with the Vontaze Burfict one. I like this as number one because AB, I think without that hit is a certified Hall of Famer, because people are putting the CTE stuff to keep him out. I think he's still going to make it because the NFL Hall of Fame is more so on the field stuff than off the field stuff. We see that a lot with the NFL Hall of Fame. But the thing with the NFL, what happened on the field? He left. So they're going to put that into account. I like this one. I like your list. I thought it was good. I personally like. What was your first one you did? What was number 5? I forget number 5 at first.
Number 5 was Minneapolis.
I like this one. I like this one, the RG3. I had a feeling you'd do RG3 because you talked about him a little bit with the Jaden Daniels stuff. Mm-hmm. I know you're a big RG3 guy.
I love RG3.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to? Are you able to screen share?
I'm gonna be able to. I want to put him in slideshow mode. Actually, crap.
Yeah, put it in slideshow mode.
Hopefully, can you still see my? Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna let's see here. Share screen. Do you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Oh shoot. Okay, never mind. I think I'm good. Okay, my top 5 what ifs in NFL history by Nathan Osler.
Let's go.
I have requirements. It has to be a specific play, or a draft pick, or a change of an outcome that has changed history. Number 5. It involves this. Do you know where I'm going with this? By chance.
Wow. This makes me sick.
What if Team Tebow never made the throw against Pittsburgh in overtime? So I have mine laid out differently. So the Steelers were clearly heavy favorites on the road in Denver, who was 8-8 during the, I think, 2011-2012 playoffs. The game goes overtime, where a very good Steelers defense, of course, allowed Tim Tebow to find Demaryius Thomas on an 80-yard touchdown pass to win it in OT. This is before the overtime rule change. Denver would go on to lose to New England in the next week, 45-10. They got blown out. And the Patriots would go on to beat the Giants in the Super Bowl. We all know this. I think if Pittsburgh wins, they give the Patriots an even tougher game with that defense. Big Ben in that defense takes down New England. And that's not me just saying it. And rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas, as Nicholas says in the chat. And that's not me just saying that because I'm a Steelers fan. I think that defense could have beat the Patriots. This sets up a Steelers-Ravens AFC championship game. Wouldn't that be awesome right there? Where the winner would still face Eli Manning and the Giants, but I think the winner of that game would be would beat the Giants. I think the Steelers or Ravens beat the New York Giants there because even though the Patriots didn't win in real life. But who was Brady's kryptonite? Eli Manning. Eli Manning historically wasn't good against other QBs in the AFC. It was mainly Tom Brady. So we're going to move on. I thought you thought that would be interesting there. So Tim Tebow
solid.
Doesn't make the overtime pass.
So is that 5? Is that number 5?
That's my 5.
Okay.
Number 4.
Oh my God.
We're going to acknowledge our tribal chief first.
I acknowledge.
What if the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, never went to the WWE? What if he played in the NFL longer? I'll just say it. We all know the tribal chief had a solid career in college, played at Georgia Tech. Senior year, 40 tackles, 2 forced fumbles,
Horrible.
4.5 sacks, and was named first team All-ACC his senior year. He was also a team captain and played alongside Megatron, Calvin Johnson. He was picked up by the Vikings. I put nut, but that's supposed to be butt. But had some physical issues due to leukemia issues. Jaguars would pick him up later, but he was released before the season started. If that doesn't happen, the GOAT, if he played in the NFL, we don't get the tribal chief, we don't get the shield, we don't get the bloodline, any of the storyline or that awesome theme song. I'll just say acknowledge the tribal chief right there. I thought that'd be creative.
I like that. I like that. I like this. I like your list so far.
Sorry, tribal chief. I put nut instead of butt. That was me typing quick. Okay. Number 3. It involves Mahomes. And I don't think it's going to be what people think with the Bears.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah. What if the Chiefs never traded up? And yes, I'm not being boring and doing the Bears for this. And this has a major ripple effect. So the Chiefs in the 2017 draft traded with the Bills to take Mahomes 10th. If this trade doesn't happen, I think the Bills will get Marshawn Lattimore because in the real draft, they went with a defender, Tre'Davious White, at 27th. So they probably would have went best defender available, Marshawn Lattimore, corner. The next team to pick a QB was the Texans, being our friend Deshaun Watson. So if the trade doesn't happen, I think Houston would have got Mahomes, and then Watson goes elsewhere. I think Mahomes falls 2 more picks to the Houston Texans. The next QB that went in the draft was 52nd overall, where Cleveland took Deshaun Kaiser. So I don't think Watson or Mahomes would have fell that far, but it would be funny if Watson went to that pick to the Browns. He wouldn't have. Another team would have got him. If this happens, also, Baker's never in Cleveland. We never see Baker Mayfield because more than likely, if Watson would have fell that far to Cleveland, if they would have picked him earlier too, Watson would be the QB. They would have kept Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield. Watson with the Texans wasn't that bad before all this stuff came out. And then also, if Mahomes is a Houston Texan, CJ Stroud is not a Houston Texan right now. CJ Stroud's not there. I have Mahomes helps build the Texans into what they are, what the Chiefs are today. Imagine Patrick Mahomes with Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and company. Heck, I put J.J. Watt would also get a ring, and he would not have won it out. I think if Mahomes is a Texan, J.J. Watt's never a Cardinal.
Yeah.
And I think J.J. Watt has a ring. I know J.J. Watt is already going to be in the Hall of Fame. I think having the better QB, this would have been crazy if this happened. Number 2. I thought this was interesting. It involves Megatron.
I think I know this.
What if he didn't retire?
Wow.
So he's clearly one of the best receivers in NFL history and Detroit history. He earned all pro and Pro Bowl nods from 2010 to 2015, where he went over 1,000 yards yearly. His lowest during that stretch was only 1,077 in 2014. He had Matthew Stafford as his QB. He retired at 30 due to the lack of passion after losing year after year with Detroit, even though they had Matthew Stafford, who I am a big fan of. According to Johnson, the Lions never wanted to trade him, even when he threatened to walk away from football. And many reporters looked to the Patriots as the spot he could have been traded to after they saw the success Randy Moss had with Tom Brady. So if Johnson did get traded to the New England Patriots, I'll just put that in there, I think he ends up being one of the best wide receivers in this generation, and possibly of all time. Tom Brady goes to win the Super Bowl every year from 2016 to 2018. They don't lose him. Imagine Megatron on those teams. He probably has 3 rings.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots win all 3 of those Super Bowls if they have Megatron. Number 1. This one's interesting. I'm surprised you didn't have this. There it is. Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Big Ben involves them. What if Eli Manning was fine with San Diego? This is one of the biggest QB dramas of all time. Yeah. Eli Manning did not want to be a Charger. He gets drafted by the Chargers. Phillip Rivers gets picked by the Giants. They get traded for each other. Big Ben's on the Steelers. So the draft stays as it went. Eli goes to San Diego, Rivers to New York, Big Ben to the Steelers. This doesn't really involve Big Ben, but I just threw him in here just because. So draft stays as it goes. Trade doesn't happen. I think Phillip Rivers wins at least 1 ring with the Giants. Manning might win 1 with San Diego. I think Rivers has a ring. I think Rivers is guaranteed a Hall of Fame spot if he's on the Giants, if they're on different teams. Without Eli on the Giants, Brady wins those Super Bowls, by the way, I think. Manning was Brady's kryptonite. I think Rivers is treated with more respect than he already is and is a Hall of Fame lock, and I put in parentheses, already should be going in. Yes, I said it, and I have more on the next slide. And just for fun also, if Manning gets the Chargers a ring, does Spanos still move the Chargers out of San Diego? I think if Manning brings them success, who knows if they are the LA Chargers today? I think if Manning wins them games and he wins them some rings, at least 1, I think they're still the San Diego Chargers as much as that owner sucked.
Wow, yeah.
I think they're still San Diego. So here is for people that think Phillip Rivers is not as good as Eli Manning. All Manning has against Rivers is rings. Rivers has the better stats, gets absolutely 0 respect when it comes to Hall of Fame stuff. I think if Rivers goes to New York, he at least has 1 championship. Manning might get 1 with the Chargers as well. I put Manning was good against Brady in big games, so AFC would have been very different. He would have had to face Brady all the time. Who knows? Maybe the Chargers stopped Brady all those times because we know how Eli Manning did against Tom Brady in big games. I put, heck, Patriots might not even have the rings they have because of all those Manning versus Brady battles in the playoffs we could have got if he was a Charger.
Yeah.
I think Big Ben still gets his rings with the Steelers, even with Eli in the AFC. Ben isn't affected too much. But I also put imagine Rivers to OBJ in his prime or Victor Cruz, and then Eli Manning to Antonio Gates. Just imagine those pairings. If you can't see the stats, games, Rivers beat him. Average, beat him. He beats him in every stat except for rush yards a game and rushing touchdowns, stat-wise. Eli Manning has him beat in championships, Pro Bowl-wise, 8-4 for Phillip Rivers. Manning just has the rings. I think if these two guys are on different teams, people are respecting Phillip Rivers way more than what he's done. He deserves so much more respect. So that is my PowerPoint. I thought you'd enjoy that one. I thought you'd enjoy the tribal chief.
I do like it.
Yeah, that's what I got there. I think. Do you have anything?
Good list. We didn't. I was kind of surprised we didn't have any of the same thing. I thought we were going to, but I'm happy we didn't.
That's why I didn't pick Drew Bledsoe or running the ball.
Yeah, I like your list a lot. Yeah, good episode today. Hour 20 minutes, solid episode. A lot of stuff happened. Some stuff broke. Tom Brady now is an owner of the Raiders, which is crazy. So I guess they shipped Devontae Adams out and they go, okay, Tom Brady, you're in. Now, I don't know if this has repercussions on Brady being able to broadcast. I remember they said that he's not allowed to announce Raiders games now, I believe.
Probably not. They're not going to be on
Yeah,
Sunday
Yeah.
afternoons, so
probably not.
it's
So
always a good place.
good episode in total. Appreciate everyone coming in and watching today's episode. Again, drop a comment. Let us know. Let us know how we did in our top 5 lists. Let us know your top 5 biggest what ifs of all time. I think that could be fun. Make sure you comment, subscribe, turn notifications on, and yeah, thank you all for watching. And we'll see y'all next time.
So I have one more thing to say.
Go for
I
it.
brought it up to you earlier. Friday we might be playing a game. I'm
Okay.
going to make
Yes.
up, and it's
Yeah.
going to be along the lines of our good friend Mike Tomlin.
Sure.
Is it a Tomlin quote or no?
Sweet.
So it's going to be
I'm
like
excited. I like our
random
games.
movie quotes, random whatever. We're probably going to talk a little bit of games coming up. NBA is going to be starting up soon. We're going to start talking basketball, I think. But yeah, that was fun. We got to start thinking of we'll have we'll leave it up to the chat on Friday, I think.
Yeah.
What our next what ifs top 5 should be. Or maybe we just surprise people every week. But yeah, that was fun. I liked our
Sounds
list.
good. All right, guys. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you on Friday for another good episode, and we'll see you guys then.
See y'all later.